I mean, is it the medical fraternity that has created this kind of language and associated with it because to create a fear factor? I mean, why? Why is it, like Ashish asked earlier, that other illnesses that are probably even more deadly are
Yes.
not getting this kind of a connotation? So where is this stemming from?
I don't think it's the medical fraternity. I think it was Richard Nixon in the 70s who said, we'll have, we are going to do this war on cancer and all that, which came from the Vietnam War and all that. And interestingly, a sociologist and a writer called Susan Sontag talked about it in 78 as in her book, Illness as a Metaphor. So then she talked about how everybody uses the military terminology to, to address cancer, right? And then, but then she had a hope that with the advance of medical research, she was hoping that would come down. But 40 decades later, we are still talking with the terminology of war and battle, and there have been many clients also, and even me. So when somebody, the first time I was diagnosed, somebody said, "Hey, you're a fighter, and this is a battle you have to take on." It just didn't resonate with me because because I was too scared, and I didn't want to battle, and I didn't have the courage to say, "No, I can't fight. I just want to curl up in bed and cry." And can I do that? Because then being vulnerable is not being brave, right?
Right. That's what we were talking about, this huge pressure that
Yes.
comes on people with this disease to fight it, to always put up a brave front, to plow through it. And then when they survive it, you never let them forget that they've had cancer.
Absolutely. You're defined, you become defined as a cancer survivor, right?
In my house, in our house, I don't think we've ever, we never ever say mom is a cancer survivor.
That's wonderful.
And it's also because we've learned that, it's, the disease is such that it's really not a battle, it's a truce. And therefore there's no point talking about that, because anything can happen to you or to someone else, cancer or otherwise. And B, we were saying that how exclusionary it is and how much pressure it puts on these survivors. I mean, when the relapse happens, that's even worse for them. It's often, I remember in the case of my mom, she took the relapse way, way worse than the first time. And I think that's because you make such a big deal about this cancer survivor thing. And then when it comes back, I mean, or if it comes back, it doesn't have to come back, but if it comes back, I mean, they're shattered, absolutely shattered. And it's like, and they probably feel guilty that they've let people down. Exactly. They've let themselves down. Exactly. So it's doing no good, this phrase. And also putting them into a category that they are mortal and everyone else is immortal. You're a survivor where the rest of us are not surviving. Only the cancer guys are surviving.
True. Absolutely. Yeah, we don't talk of other illnesses like that, right? Or even when we talk about, like you said, you talked about Irfan Khan and Rishi Kapoor. So, I mean, all the tributes and the everything said losing their battle with cancer. But who says losing their battle with heart disease? Or so nobody uses so that is why I'm saying metaphors are very, very, very insidious in our life, and it's just automatic, right? We always talk about it like a battle and a war, and that's a problem because a battle is an all or nothing thing. So they're either winners or they're losers, right? So you either win cancer or you're a loser, and that's not a great position for anybody going through cancer to be in, because they, like Ashish said, they feel like they're letting people down if they lose.
Correct.
Or they feel like a failure for not winning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so for me, it hurt. I mean, it's both ways. It's the people who eventually don't make it, and then the people who make it. I mean, both of them are under huge amounts of pressure.
Absolutely. Yeah.